I have a problem with the delivery service that delivered it. Not the people that sold it to me, but the ones who delivered it. Once they take it in possession to ship it here, it becomes their responsibility to take care of it. And what I discovered with this box is what they couldn't have helped but known. That's that bottom of the box falls out. There was nothing holding it in there. During the many times that they would have to have moved it from one vehicle to another, from one truck to another, they couldn't help but know that the bottom of that was not sealed shut. They couldn't help but know that the tape there on the bottom that was sealing shut had broken. And so now I do not know if all the parts are here or if there's been something lost in transit. I can breathe a sigh of relief. As I was going through all of this, I was getting more and more worried about finding the owner's manual, the installation manual. Having never done any of this before in my life, I was depending on this so that when I've made my mistakes, I can go back and read this and find out what I did wrong. I worked on this and got it installed before I remembered I was going to record something about it. As you can see, I've got the rail installed on here. I've used 2 of the feet to establish where it goes according to the instructions. And there's something that perhaps you might also want to know. And that is, they asked for 3 1/4 inch distance between here and here. A 2 of 4 happens to be 3 1/2 inches across in width. And there is a 1/4 inch deep slot underneath the rail. So I simply took a 2 of 4, a longer one of course, and went down the length of the stairs here, and that maintained my proper height off the stairs while I positioned the legs and got them into place. Getting everything adjusted into place and the right distance from the railing over there. All of those dimensions to keep track of. At the bottom you have to be 1/2 inch to 3/4 off the cement down there. They said 2 1/2 minimum, but that's 2 1/2 minimum to this surface here. Unfortunately, I got another 2 1/2 up here with this handrail. So that meant I had to come out at least 5 inches minimum, just for safety's sake or to reduce my aggravation. I went a full 6 inches. So I have 6 inches from this surface to that surface. Please note that the instruction manual's picture does not match the hardware. They are quite different in their character. The instructions on this says I need to put a cotter pin in the bottom of this shaft which holds the seat in place. I guess so you can't lift the seat up and out of there. The problem is, after hunting for hours repeatedly through the supplies that came with this used chair, I could not find a cotter pin. So now I'm going to use some drills to figure out what size hole that is, so that I can get the correct size cotter pin and put it in there. If I'm lucky, I'll find one in my own supplies. If I'm not, I'll have to jump in the car and drive a few miles to the hardware store to pick one up. Okay, according to the drill sizes, a hole happens to be just a hair over, probably a metric size instead of English, but using English drills, it's a hair over 11/64. And a cotter pin size, that means I need a 5/32 cotter pin to fit through that hole. I had to put on plastic covers over the sockets, this thing here, and in order to keep dirt, bugs, and water spray out of the socket, because the way this is designed, the lid's going to be constantly held open by this power supply plug which I've put in, and now it runs down and over through the porch. It's aggravating that I had to run into town to buy the cotter pins. Of course, you get more than what you need. I only needed one. Also, I could put it through that hole in that shaft right there. And once I get the cotter pin in there and bent into place, then that is done. Another complaint I have is this was provided in the kit. It is petroleum jelly, Vaseline if you want to call it that, and it's to be used for lubrication. But the instructions there hasn't got even a single word that mentions lubrication or Vaseline or any of it by any name. Not once does it say when and where the lubrication needs to be applied. There should be a coat of it on the gear from the drive motor on that device, and there should be some on the rack gear going up and down the side in order to make it function properly without it gallting up on the gears. And not one word in the instructions about when and where to put it on. Because I followed the instructions, I did not get this onto the gear head of the drive motor. So I'm going to have to get it on there second hand by spreading it on the rack gear and running it up and down a few times till it picks it up. But it still upsets me that there's no sequence, proper sequence for that. Upsets me that this thing, which is supposed to protect this wire, as it goes up in there and keep it waterproof and bugs out, etc., won't allow these ends to go through it, and there's no way for me to get them through it. Not even one at a time will fit through that. It doesn't even begin to fit. HDC. Volts. Showing 27 volts. Okay, we have 27 volts. That's the charge card. They provided this screwdriver looking thing. It's actually a socket driver for a 6mm. It's designed to go into that hole, which connects onto the shaft to the drive motor. It is the manual way of moving the chair up and down. The problem is that it's so stiff and hard that it's really hard to move it just 1 inch up the rail. So, being basically lazy, I have decided to use this instead for my tool set and my electric drill to run that back up to where it needs to be. The chairlift that I chose to buy is a used one, and it came in really good condition, only with a couple of very minor scratches on a couple of parts that are totally unnoticeable, unless you're a perfectionist like me. But the instruction manual that comes with this covers the things pretty thoroughly, but it's a little bit out of sequence. This is the control panel or circuitry that is inside the machine. But this picture is upside down from the way you see it when you take the cover off to look into the machine. So it gets a little confusion about which one of those red buttons to push, because that's all you do is there's 2 little red buttons which are on the top of the thing that you have to push in the right sequence while watching its monitor screen. And this is done to align the circuit board with all the safety switches and such that are used for the operation of the device. The reason I say this is out of sequence is that the pages after it still have you plug in all those switches and other things. And if you do it when you get to this page, it doesn't work. After getting it all assembled and working, went back to this page and it works. It now operates like it should. And so I will now show you the operation of the chair